a look at the troops that I think everybody's most familiar with. These are just your plain Jane Tier 1 militia. As you can see here, you've got 1 power, 6 attack, 14 defense, 8 HP, 8 speed, 14 load, 1 range, and 0.21 upkeep. You'll notice here it has the following talents that could be activated. Shield, reducing damage from archers and crossbowmen. Iron armor greatly increases defense, and grit, which greatly increases HP. You'll notice as we go on during this video that each one of these talents upgrade as your troops get stronger. So let's move on to Tier 2. Here we have the Tier 2 Infantry. 1.4 power, 8 attack, 19 defense, 9 HP, 8 speed, 14 load, and the range is 1. Once again, all of your infantry is going to have the range of 1. Upkeep is 0.42. Once again, this is just like your militia as far as the type of talents that it can engage. You've got your shield, iron armor, and grit. Tier 3 spearmen have 1.9 power, 22 attack, 13 defense, HP is 6, speed is 9, load is 16, and the range is 1. Upkeep is 0.62. In the spearmen, you'll notice here this is the first of the pike type talented troops. They've got pike, which is increased damage to cavalry, brutal attack, which increases the pikemen's attack, and critical hit, which means they have a chance to deal triple damage. So with brutal attack, the increase of pikemen attack is for all pikemen rated troops. That means all troops that have the talent pike are considered when engaging the brutal attack. With critical hit, the better chance to have to deal triple damage is for all troops in your march or in your castle. Here we have your Tier 4 swordsmen. They give you 2.5 power per swordsman. Your attack is 15, your defense is 35, HP is 15, speed is 8, load is 16, range is 1 again, and upkeep is 0.83. Once again, you'll notice here the talents: shield, iron armor, and grit. I'm going to go on to the Tier 5 pikemen. These have 3.2 power. The attack is 38. Defense is 22. HP is 9. Speed's also 9. The load is 18. Range is 1. And upkeep is 1.04. Once again, this is a pike type troop. So as a result, if you were to engage brutal attack, then you would see that increased the pikemen's attack all the way across the board. You would notice an increase in pike kills in your battle report. Here we have the Tier 6 Noble Swordsman. Powers 4, attacks 24, defense is 56, HP is 22, speed is 8, troop load is 18, range is 1, and upkeep is 1.5. Once again, that's the same shield, iron armor, and grit. Any of the shield troops are going to have those same talents. Let's move on to the Tier 7 guards. Everybody who is new to this game, who's just starting out, has not really played that long, or is starting over in a fresh server, my advice to you is to rush to level 20. I know that's going to sound a little backwards. A lot of grinders will tell you that's definitely not the way to go. But I'm going to tell you that the best defense against the big spenders in any kingdom is a whole bunch of guards. Because most of the time big spenders have pretty castles, but their attributes suck. So if you have well-researched guards, you can definitely stand up against a bunch of idiots. But that's my rant. All right, on to heavy pikes, tier 8. Now this is your first, in my opinion, your first real attacking troop. They have 5.9 power, 70 attack, defense is 41, which is not really that shabby, HP is 15, speed's 9, loads 20, range is 1, upkeep's 1.67. Once again, this is a pike, so it's an attacking troop. It's something you would send if you saw your enemy had a bunch of cavalry that needed to be dealt with. Halberdiers. Tier 9 halberdiers. They give you 7 power per troop. They have an attack of 84, defense of 49, HP is 18, your speed is 9, your load's 22, and your range is 1, just like all the rest of your infantry troops, which means they can't hit you until they see the whites of your eyes. Your upkeep is 1.88. And last but not least, berserkers. These are probably one of the best defensive troops to have in your castle. If you plan on taking a lot of hits from a lot of big castles, I would suggest stocking up on berserkers because they have crazy defense, and if your attack attributes are even slightly okay, for the most part, let's say you have like a 100 infantry attack bonus, 149 infantry attack, 100 and let's say you had maybe 50 defense, 164 defense, that's pretty good. I mean, you're going to stand up against quite a number of decent sized opponents. Of course, you're not going to be able to eat marches from a P5 with 500 archer attack, but you could definitely do some pretty decent damage to a mid-level P2, P3, no problem. And as you notice, this being a defensive troop, you're going to see shield, iron armor, and grit. So I have a couple of friends who sent me some screenshots to help me out with this video, and as a result, I have a couple of things I can show you as far as the different levels and talents that they have been unlocked and at different levels. So here we've got P1 tier 1 militia, and as you can see, you've got shield level 2, iron armor level 2, grit level 2. It shows shield wall, but you can't actually do anything with it. Here we've got P1 Infantry. Same attributes as previously, shield level 2, iron armor level 2, grit level 2. Everything here, those talents are level 2 when you're at P1. Now, here is where things get a little different. With your spearmen, which is your tier 3, you're looking at only level 1 pike, which is the increased damage to cavalry. That's why the P1 pike troops are not as strong as, for example, P3 or P4 pike troops. We'll see in a second. I'll show you. I have screenshots of P3 pikes. Here is the tier 4 P1. As you can see here, shield, iron armor, and grit are all level 2. But once we get back to pikes, they're all level 1. So pay attention to the level of the talents, because that is an increase in whether or not they're going to be engaged. Here we have noble swordsmen, and once again, shield level 2, iron armor level 2, grit level 2. Here we go with the tier 7 troops. this should be bread and butter in everybody's inventory. Everybody should have some tier 7 troops. I understand that berserkers are stronger. I get that. But tier 7 troops definitely serve their purpose. So shield level 2, iron armor level 2, grit level 2. And here we go to the halberdier. That's the tier 9 infantry. Once again, all of the talents are only level 1. Tier 10, all the talents are level 2. So, like I said, you have to pay attention to the talents and to find out which troops are actually going to be the strongest and which ones you should combine with each other in order to get the outcome that you want in your battle. Okay, so moving on to P3 infantry. We have tier 1 P3 infantry. As you can notice, the top portion is going to maintain the same no matter what level you are, whether you're Castle 1 or Castle P5. It does not matter. It's going to be the same. But the talents increase. You've got your shield talent level 3, iron armor level 3, grit level 3. Interesting point that P3 is the level in which those shield troops become just as strong as P5 troops as far as the talents are concerned. The only difference is the shield wall. Now, granted, that shield wall, which we'll get into a little bit later, deals quite a bit of damage to the enemy's troops, but it is interesting to note that is the only difference. All right. So let's go on to tier 2 infantry. This is what it would look like, tier 2 P3 infantry. Once again, the shield troops are going to have the same talent level as P5 troops, level 3. Okay, moving on to spearmen, which is the first of the pike class of troops. You've got your pikemen, or your pike talent is only level 2 with P3. Now, when you hit P5, your talent will be level 2, or excuse me, will be level 3 for all of your troops across the board. I'm not 100% sure when that turns to level 3. I believe the pike and the attack attributes don't change to level 3 until you are P5, but I do not have P4 screenshots to verify that, so I apologize ahead of time. So that was tier 3. This is tier 4 here. Once again, you're going to see the same thing with the shield, the iron armor, and the grit, all level 3. Now you may be asking yourself, why does she keep hammering in what these talents are? The reason is because the talents come in very, very, very handy when you're creating your troop compositions and when you're layering your attacks. You want to make sure that you're taking into consideration what each troop is best suited for. You don't want to go sending in a bunch of troops that are no good against cavalry against a whole bunch of cavalry. You don't want to send in a bunch of troops that are no good against siege engines against siege. I mean, it's pretty basic, but we'll get into that in another video. Here we're looking at tier 5 P3 pikemen. As you can see, all the talents are level 2 for your pike, and all of your talents are level 3 for all of your shield. As you can see, you got your noble swordsman here. Attack 24, defense 56. It's not horrible for a lower level shield troop. It's always nice to have a couple of those in your inventory if you can manage to keep them alive. Here is the bread and butter of most people's troops. You've got your tier 7 guards. They unlock at Castle 19, and I think they've probably been one of my most trustworthy troop types over the years. This is a P3 tier 7 guard. You've got your shield, your iron armor, and your grit, all level 3. Like I said before, this is the same level that your P5 troops have, so there's definitely an advantage to using P3 shielding troops versus using P2 or P1 shielding troops, because they only have level 2 talent attributes. Here is our dear friend, the heavy pikemen. Attack 70, defense 41, HP 15. If you have good HP for your infantry, they tend to live a little bit longer. So I would suggest definitely investing in defense and HP for your infantry. They're the ones that keep your other troops alive, and your other troops should be the ones that you focus on upping your attack attributes, because they're not the first ones to see the fight. Here we are with heavy pikemen, P3, tier 8, heavy pikes. As you can see again, all the pike talent, brutal attack, critical hit, they're all level 2. Here are berserkers, last but not least for sure. Now, interesting piece of information about berserkers. Notice that their attack is only 49. Do not expect berserkers to have a whole bunch of kills. Most of the time, they're just trying to keep your other troops alive long enough to do some heavy damage. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into the P5 troops and see why they're actually so much stronger than the other types of troops, even the level 1 militias. So if you look at the level 1 militias, you see it has the exact same power, attack, defense, HP, speed, load, range, and upkeep as on all the previous levels. However, in addition to the 3 standard skills, which are all level 3 now, shield, iron armor, and grit, you're also going to get shield wall level 1. Shield wall level 1 reduces the amount of damage dealt to all of your troops, not just your infantry troops, but your whole entire attack or defense, depending on what you're using the troops for. As a result, the P5 troops are quite a bit stronger than any other level. If you look here at the tier 2 troops, you're going to see the exact same thing going on with the shield, with the shield being level 3, iron armor being level 3, grit being level 3, and shield wall being level 1 once again. Let's see here. So here we go. Tier 3 spearmen. Same stats as all the other P4, P3, P2. But you see here, pike is now level 3, brutal attack is now level 3, critical hit is now level 3, and now it's obtained a new skill called sweep. A certain chance to attack close combat enemies, cause wide range damage. So that means if you see other types of troops with low ranges, I would say probably anything less than 5 as their range, this skill, sweep, would be beneficial against that particular type of troop. Here, you can see the tier 4 troops. They're swordsmen. Same exact setup as all the other previous tiers, but as I mentioned before, shield wall. Now, that's the case, and I will show you in a moment in a spreadsheet, but that's the case with all of the P5 troops. Every single tier has an additional level 1 skill. That's why when P5 came out, the P5 troops were so much stronger than any of the other previous tiers, because they had an additional skill. In addition to all the skills being leveled up just like they were in P1, P2, P3, P4, they're also now additionally adding another skill. And I would assume when they release new troop types, they'll also be probably releasing additional skills with those new troop types. So here we go with Noble swordsmen, you've got, once again, shield and all those additional talent. Now, one of the things that I haven't really heard covered in too many previous videos is how those talents engage and how that actually factors into how you layer your troops and things of that nature. As you can see here, you've got your heavy pikes. I love tier 8 heavy pikes. Until you unlock the tier 10 berserkers, pikes are probably one of my best friends. Not saying the halberdiers aren't great too. I like them. When you unlock them, they're great. But I guess because I was a low-level castle for such a long time, pikemen were my bread and butter. So they're definitely some of my favorites. And then let's see here. We got your tier 9 halberdiers. Now, the one thing I don't like about halberdiers is the fact that their defense is pretty much, it's really close to what the heavy pikemen are. Granted, the attack is completely different, but the actual defense is very close. And the bad thing about that is if you don't have your infantry defense and your infantry HP up, these guys are going to die faster than they can kill anything. So sending them into battle is like pretty much giving the other opponent or giving your enemy kills. So be careful about that. A lot of people focus on attack attributes and don't pay attention to HP or defense. And HP and defense can win you a battle if you know what you're doing. So here we've got tier 10 P5 berserkers. Shield level 3, iron armor level 3, grit level 3, shield wall level 1. And as I said before, that shield wall makes a total impact on your whole entire troops, not just the infantry troops that have that skill unlocked.